Rain hit the street so hard it turned the lights into long, blurry lines. I sat behind the wheel of a borrowed Lamborghini, engine low and smooth, trying to look like I was just another driver waiting for a rich client. My gray t-shirt did not match the car, but that was the point. People see the car. They forget the driver. I was supposed to be invisible tonight. Then Elena stepped into the doorway of the gallery, and invisible was no longer an option. She stood there like the bright room behind her had pushed her out. The crowd inside was all soft laughter and clinking glasses. Out here was dark, wet, and sharp. Her white shirt and blazer looked like they belonged in a boardroom, not under a leaking city sky. Her hair was pulled back tight. Glasses on. Everything about her said control. Except her fingers. They shook a little where they held the doorframe. I cracked the window. Cold air slid in, full of rain and that metal taste you get when a storm is close. Elena's eyes moved fast. Gallery. Street. Cars. Exit. Then they landed on the Lamborghini. On me. Not like I was a stranger. More like I was an answer she had not expected to see. Julian stepped out behind her. He moved like a man who thought the whole block belonged to him. Dark suit, perfect tie, smile that looked good in photos and bad in real life. He didn't rush. Men like him think time waits. Oh, notes. A contract I never should have signed. That word told me more than anything else. Contract. Not love. Not breakup. Ownership. Why tonight? I asked. Because tonight I embarrassed him, she said. I told him no in front of people. He doesn't forgive that. The wipers kept a steady rhythm. The rain tried to scrub us off the map. I didn't ask what he wanted. I already knew the type. Men who confuse control with care. Men who think fear is proof of love. Elena turned her head and finally looked at me. The street light caught her glasses and made her eyes flash behind them. Who are you really, Kaden? A favor, I said. That's not an answer. It's the only safe one right now. She watched me another second. Then she seemed to need the silence broken, even a little. This is a Lamborghini, she said, like she was forcing herself to notice anything else. I noticed, I said. Her mouth twitched, almost a smile. Your favor drives like a billionaire. I borrowed it, I told her. From a client. And yes, it's insured. A small breath slipped out of her, lighter than the others. Not quite a laugh, but not fear either. Where are we going? She asked. A safe place. Somewhere Julian doesn't control. He controls more than you think, she said. I know, I answered. That's why we're not staying on his map. She watched my hands on the wheel and the way my eyes moved from mirrors to road to side streets. You used to be security, didn't you? Something like that, I said. Why did you ask for help, Elena? Her throat worked. Because I could feel myself disappear around him, she said. Because tonight I knew if I got in his car, there wouldn't be a next time to ask. I didn't tell her she was right. She already knew. 20 minutes later, the city thinned. The lights spread out into dark trees and wet roads. When the cabin came into view, it looked small and quiet. Wood siding, low roof, warm light behind thick curtains. A place built to be missed if you weren't looking for it. I killed the engine. The silence rang in my ears. Elena stayed seated, staring at the door like it might be another trap. It's mine, I said. I held up the keys. Not a rental. Not a friend's. Mine. That's not very reassuring, she said. It's honest, I replied. She studied my face. My hands. The old scar on my knuckle. She was not looking for charm. She was looking for danger and trying to decide which kind she could live with. I stepped out into the rain, came around, and opened her door. I didn't grab her. I just held out my hand. She hesitated for half a heartbeat, then placed her fingers in my palm. Her hand was cold. It still held on. Inside, the cabin smelled like cedar and smoke. I locked the door. One lock, second, third. Elena watched every click. You're thorough, she said. I'm alive, I answered. She set her bag on the small table. The sound was loud in the quiet. I checked the windows and the back door while she stood by the sink, breathing like each inhale was a choice. If we go to the police, he'll spin it, she said softly. He'll say I'm unstable. He'll say you're the thug he hired. Then we don't go to them blind, I said. We go with proof. The word made her eyes change. A small flash of hope and fear together. She walked to the sink and turned on the water. She washed her hands for too long, like she needed to scrub Julian off her skin. When she turned off the tap, she looked at me. He had my phone for security. He said he was protecting me, she said. Where is it now? I asked. In my purse. May I? She lifted the strap and handed me the bag like it was something heavy and dangerous. I opened it slow. No digging. No show. Just my fingers finding the smooth weight of the phone. The case was sleek and expensive. I turned it under the lamp. There was a thin line along the back where there should have been solid plastic. Elena, I said, keeping my voice even. Has this case always been on your phone? She stepped closer. Julian bought it. A gift. I tipped it, letting the light catch the small extra piece built into the case. Not a charm. Not decoration. A device. You put something in your phone, I said. A tracker. Elena's face went very still. Her lips parted, then pressed together. Her shoulders dropped like someone had finally named the thing that had been crawling over her skin for months. I thought I was paranoid, she whispered. You were accurate, I said. Her eyes lifted to mine, wide and raw. And that was when I knew this night was only getting started. Danger is louder when the room is quiet. That is something I learned a long time ago. Elena stood in front of me, eyes fixed on the tiny device hidden in her phone case. I could see her trying to put every strange feeling, every coincidence, every cold look from Julian into this one small piece of truth. Can you remove it? She asked. I can, I said. But first we prove it was there. I took my own phone out, snapped clear pictures of her phone from every angle. Case, seam, device. I wanted any judge, any cop, any lawyer to be able to look at those photos and understand what Julian had done. Then I opened a small black kit from my bag. A thin tool slid under the lip of the case. I worked slow and careful, hand steady. The tracker came loose with a soft click. It was smaller than my thumb. Black plastic. No logo. No guilt. I dropped it into a glass jar from the shelf and screwed the lid on tight. Elena stared at it like it might start talking. He watched me with that, she said. Everywhere I went. You survived him even with that, I said. That counts for something. Her eyes glistened, but tears did not fall. She wasn't falling apart. She was waking up. I set her phone down and slid my own toward her. Text Marcus, I said. Who is Marcus? She asked. Friend, I said. He handles the kind of trouble that needs uniforms and paperwork. He knows which doors to knock on and which to kick. Julian monitors my contacts, she said. He checks my calls, my texts. Then don't use your phone, I said. Use mine. She looked at the phone, then at me. You trust me with this? I trust you not to hand it to Julian, I said. That pulled a real small smile out of her. It changed her whole face. She picked up my phone and typed fast. I turned away, giving her space, and checked the locks again, the windows, the line of trees outside. The phone buzzed a moment later. Marcus, I said, reading the reply. He's on his way. Says stay put, stay dark. Elena let out a long breath. He sounds very calm. He has seen worse, I said. And he trusts me. She stared at me. Why do you trust me? She asked. I don't need your perfect choices tonight, I said. I need your honest fear and your consent. You already did the hard part when you left with me. Her throat worked like she was swallowing a lump. I feel stupid, she whispered. For not seeing it sooner. For staying so long. You stayed alive, I said. That is not stupid. That is strategy. Silence settled again. The rain tapped the roof. My stomach growled at the worst possible time. Elena blinked and looked at my chest like it had betrayed me. Was that you? She asked. No, I said automatically, then sighed. Yes. The corner of her mouth lifted again. This time it was almost a real smile. The pressure in the room eased just a little. You should eat, I said. I have eggs, bread, coffee. Nothing fancy. Then cook, she said, a hint of old authority slipping back into her voice. Please. The please made it different. I moved to the small stove. Butter hit the pan and hissed. Eggs followed. Toast slid into the toaster. The sounds were warm and normal. It felt wrong and right at the same time, making breakfast food in the middle of a war. I set a plate in front of her. She took a bite, like she was reminding her body it still had a job. By the third bite, her shoulders had dropped half an inch. You are surprisingly domestic, she said. For a guy who looks like he breaks doors. Doors do not break themselves, I said. Someone has to help. She gave a short, soft laugh, then covered her mouth like she was not allowed to laugh. That small human sound hit me harder than the threat outside. Then everything changed. A thin mechanical buzz cut through the rain. Elena froze, fork halfway to her mouth. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. The sound grew louder, a small insect in the sky with a camera and a purpose. "Lights," I said, voice low. "Turn them off." Elena moved instantly. She set her plate down and crossed the room in 3 long steps, flicking the lamp off. The cabin fell into shadow, only the gray shape of the window and a bit of street glow slipping around the curtain. The buzz moved above us. Slower now. Searching. I lifted the edge of the curtain with 2 fingers and looked out. A drone hovered in the night, small body, blinking red light, camera, I aiming down. "How did he find us?" Elena whispered. That question slid straight into my spine. I ran through the checklist in my head. Her phone answered. "This does not have a tracking subscription." I held out a helmet. She took it, eyes wide but jaw firm. She put it on and climbed on behind me. Her arm slid around my waist. Her grip was strong, no shaking now. "Hold on," I said. "I am," she said into my shoulder. We rode out into the dark, away from the cabin, away from the car that was shouting our location to anyone listening. Trees blurred. Mud kicked up. The drone sound faded behind us, small and frustrated. By the time we reached the wide dirt lot near the old logging road, my back was soaked, my hands stiff on the grips, and Elena was molded to my spine like she had forgotten how to let go. Headlights flashed twice ahead. A pickup truck waited, engine running. "Marcus." I killed the bike and felt Elena's hands linger for 1 extra second before she let go. A tall man stepped out of the truck. Broad shoulders. Calm face. Jacket that had seen rain and worse. He took one look at Elena, at the jar in my hand, at the mud on our boots, and his eyes sharpened. "Elena," he said with a simple nod. "I'm Marcus. Kaden said you could help," she said quietly, using my full name like it was a lifeline. "He said you were smart enough to leave," Marcus replied. "That is a good start." He glanced at the motorcycle, then at me. "You left the Lamborghini as bait?" "And its GPS," I said. "Good," he said. "Then let's make sure Julian wishes he never turned it on." He opened the truck door, and for the first time that night, I felt the ground under us stop moving. We were still in danger, but now we had a plan starting to form. Inside Marcus's truck, it was warm and smelled like coffee and old leather. Elena slid into the middle seat between us, hands still wrapped around her purse like it was a shield and a weight at the same time. Marcus pulled a thick folder from the dash and opened it on the steering wheel. Printed pages, screenshots, notes written in dark ink. "I pulled the manufacturer logs from the Lamborghini's GPS," he said. "It pings a server every few minutes. Your client's subscription makes that easy to trace." Elena stared at the papers. "You can get all that?" she asked. "When someone's safety is on the line, a lot of doors open," he said. "Julian is not the only one who knows people." Her eyes moved to a screenshot of a map with small dots. Our path from the gallery to the cabin glowed on the page like a trail of light we had never meant to leave. Marcus tapped another document. "This is a copy of the request he sent for the gallery security footage," he said. "This is your contract with him. This is the email where he threatened to leak your voice notes if you left." There was a transcript of one of her messages. Her voice on paper. The words looked harmless, normal, personal. In the wrong hands they were a blade. Elena's fingers trembled and then stilled. "He said no one would believe me," she whispered. "That is why we do not just tell a story," Marcus said. "We show it." I set the glass jar on the dashboard. The tracker sat inside, small and ugly under the dome of glass. Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Nice," he said. "He put that in your phone?" "Yes," Elena said. Her voice cracked on the word, just a little. "Then we make sure any judge sees it," Marcus said. "We do this right." Elena looked at him, then at me. "What do you need from me?" she asked. "Your consent," Marcus said. "And your statement. We can protect you without it, but we cannot take him down without you. You can walk away," I added. The words hurt my throat, but I meant them. "If this is too much, I can move you, hide you, change your number. You do not owe us a war." She stared straight ahead through the wet windshield. The lot lights cast pale gold lines across her face. I could almost see her turning every choice over inside her mind, weighing fear against freedom. Then she shook her head once, sharp. "I am done walking away," she said. Marcus nodded. "Good answer." We drove back toward the city as the sky started to pale. The rain turned from heavy drops to thin mist. Buildings rose around us, glass and concrete catching early morning light. Julian's office tower was tall and smooth, full of mirrors and money. We did not go in through the front. Marcus had arranged a side entrance with a security supervisor who owed him a favor and liked to keep his questions small. Inside, white tile and fluorescent lights tried to make everything feel clean. The elevator ride up felt slow and fast at the same time. Elena stood between us, shoulders straight, glasses on, hair still in that tight bun. She looked like the same woman from the gallery. Inside, she was not the same at all. "You sure he will come?" she asked. "He loves control," I said. "You challenged that in public. He cannot resist a chance to fix the story. You agreed to meet. That is bait he does not walk past." Marcus checked his watch. 2 minutes, he said. His voice was steady. The doors opened on Julian's floor. His office suite was all dark wood, clean lines, and huge windows that looked down on the city like it was a toy. Elena stepped into the room and stopped. I watched something change in her face. Not fear, not shock, just a quiet, hard kind of focus. She looked at his desk, his chair, the wall of awards. Then her jaw set. Marcus moved to a side door and spoke softly into a small radio. "Unit in position," he said. A voice answered, low and clear. "Real officers. Real authority." This was not just a private fight anymore. I stood near Elena, not touching, close enough to be a wall if she needed it. The latch on the main door clicked. Julian walked in like he owned the air and all the oxygen in it. Same dark suit. Same smooth smile. He saw Elena first. Then he saw me. Then he noticed Marcus. "This is a surprise," he said. "Elena, you had your dramatic moment. Now you are wasting other people's time too." "I am not going anywhere with you," she said. His smile got thinner. "You are emotional. You needed space. Now you are making that into a show. They are here because you made sure I did not feel safe anywhere," she said. Her voice was steady. Mine was not the voice she needed. Hers was. Julian's gaze slid to me. "You are a driver," he said. "That is all. You cannot protect her from me." I stepped forward one slow pace. "You do not get to tell me what I can or cannot do," I said. His eyes flashed. He took a step toward Elena like he was going to grab her arm. That was enough. I moved faster than he expected. I caught his wrist before it got close to her shoulder, turned it just enough to make him stop without breaking anything, and pinned him gently but firmly against his own desk. His breath hissed. "Touching me is a mistake," he said. "Touching her was yours," I answered. Marcus stepped up beside us and laid the folder out on the desk. Page after page spread like a paper storm. "Julian," he said in a calm, official voice. "We have evidence of unlawful tracking and coercive threats. Telemetry logs from the car. Documentation of a hidden tracker in Elena's phone case." Julian's eyes flicked to the jar when Marcus set it down. For the first time, his control slipped. His smile did not reach his eyes. "These logs are private," he said. "You had no right." "When someone is being stalked," Marcus replied, "a lot of walls get lower." Julian tried to jerk his arm free. I kept my grip and my voice steady. "Stop," I said. "You are only making this worse." He glared at Elena. "You think this will save you?" he asked. "I can bury you. I can make you look crazy. I can ruin your name." "You already tried," she said. Her chin rose. "Now you are going to do it with handcuffs on." The side door opened. 2 uniformed officers stepped in, followed by a plainclothes detective with tired eyes. "Right," she said. "About what?" I asked. "About not going to the police blind," she said. "About proof." "You did the hardest part," I said. "You told the truth while looking him in the eye." She shook her head. "I did not do that alone." The air between us changed. The threat was not gone, but it had shifted. The fear was not the sharp kind anymore. It was a softer, shaking thing that comes after a long night. Her eyes flicked down to my mouth for a half second, then back up. I stepped closer. Slow. Careful. Close enough to feel her breath. Far enough that she could move away if she wanted. She did not. I lifted my hand and touched her jaw, just my fingertips. No grabbing. No pulling. Just a question. Elena leaned into that touch, barely, like she was answering in a language that did not need words. So I kissed her. Not hungry. Not rough. Just a steady, quiet press of my mouth to hers. Her fingers curled into my shirt. Not hard. Just enough to hold on to something solid. For a few seconds, there was no office, no evidence, no court orders. Just the sound of her breathing easing and the feeling of 2 people who had survived the same night for different reasons. When we pulled back, Elena exhaled slowly. Her smile was small and honest. "I should be terrified," she said. "You are," I replied. "You are just not alone anymore." She gave a soft, broken laugh. "That is a very strange romantic line." "I did not say it was romantic," I said. She looked at me over the edge of her glasses, that small smile growing warmer. "You are learning," she said. Outside the window, the gray morning was turning brighter. For the first time since the gallery, the day did not feel like a trap. It felt like a beginning. And I knew this night was not over for us yet. We did not stay in Julian's office. Marcus packed the folder back into his bag and took the jar with the tracker. He promised he would file everything before noon, that a judge would see it fast, that a piece of paper with a seal would soon say what we already knew. "Stay away. Do not come close. Do not touch. Paper is not magic, but it helps." Elena walked out of the suite beside me, not behind me. Her steps were steady. Her eyes were clear. I stayed close enough that if she stumbled, my arm would be there. She did not stumble. In the elevator, she let her head lean back against the wall for a second. "Just one. Is it really over?" she asked. "Not all the way," I said. "He will hire lawyers. He will try things. But the balance changed today. You are not a story he tells about you anymore. You told your own." "That sounds like something Marcus would say," she said. "I stole it from him," I admitted. Her mouth curved. "Good. Steal more." The doors opened on the lobby. Normal office people walked past us with coffee and phones, talking about meetings and lunch. No one knew that upstairs a man who thought he was untouchable had just been let out in handcuffs. Outside, the rain had stopped. The street was still wet. Cars rolled by and tires sprayed thin lines of water. The sky was pale and cold, but lighter than it had been all night. The Lamborghini sat at the curb where Marcus had asked one of his people to bring it. It looked exactly like it had in front of the gallery. Sleek. Loud. A beautiful problem on four wheels. Elena stared at it with her arms folded. "So that thing betrayed us," she said. "It did what it was built to do," I said. "It shouted its location to anyone who knew how to listen. I am the one who ignored that part. The mistake is mine." She turned her head and looked at me. "You admitted that," she said. "I am not Julian," I replied. Her eyes softened. "Good," she said. Marcus came up behind us. "I will ride with the officers," he told Elena. "They will take your statement again, slow and careful this time. After that, you have choices. Safe hotel. Friend's place. New locks on your door." She nodded. "And you?" she asked him. He glanced at me. "He will get you home," Marcus said. "Or wherever you decide home is now." She looked between us. "So that is it," she said. "He is just gone?" "For today," Marcus said. "For longer if the court agrees. But you still call if anything feels wrong. Any unknown number. Any car you see twice. You do not ignore your instincts again." "I will not," she said. He squeezed her shoulder, gave me a short nod, then walked away toward the unmarked car at the corner. The noise of the street filled the silence he left. Elena turned back to the Lamborghini. The morning light reflected in the windshield. It looked less like a weapon now and more like a question. "You really borrowed this from a client?" she asked. "Yes." "Do they know you used it to rescue women from controlling men?" she asked. "Not yet," I said. "But if the paint is still clean, they do not need the full story." She laughed, soft and a little tired. It was the most human sound I had heard all day. I walked around to the passenger side and opened the door for her. She stepped closer, but did not get in right away. She leaned her arm on the open window frame and faced me instead. Up close, I could see the faint red mark on her nose from where her glasses sat, the fine lines of stress at the corners of her mouth, the strength that had outlasted a storm. "Are you going to drive me home?" she asked. Her voice was quiet. "Or are you going to keep pretending you are just a driver?" I let my eyes drop to her mouth for a heartbeat, then back up to her eyes. "The car is big enough for two," I said. Her eyes warmed. The line of her shoulders relaxed in a way I had not seen yet. She did not look away. "Then park somewhere silent," she replied. The first time she had said those words, back in my head before tonight, they had sounded like a dare. Now they sounded like something else. An invitation. A choice. I held her gaze for one more second so she could change her mind if she wanted. She did not. So I stepped back and offered my hand. She slid into the seat, taking my hand as if it was part of the motion. I closed her door with care, like she was something I was not going to let the world slam again. I got in on my side and started the engine. The car purred to life. For the first time since I had sat in it that night, the sound did not feel like a warning. It felt like a promise. We pulled away from the curb. The city moved around us, busy and uncaring. People walked dogs. A bus hissed at a light. A bike courier cut between cars. Nobody knew this car had carried fear and proof and a choice. Where is somewhere silent? I asked as we stopped at a light. Elena watched the world through the windshield for a moment. Not my old place, she said. He owns the memories there. Not a hotel. Too bright. Too easy to find. She turned her head. Where do you go when you need quiet? I thought for a second. There was a small overlook on the edge of the city, where the road climbed and then dropped away, leaving a view of trees and roofs and far sky. I had sat there more than once, listening to my engine tick as it cooled, trying to let other lives wash the noise out of my head. A hill, I said. You can see the whole city from it. No drones. No cameras. Just wind and cars passing way below. She nodded once. Take me there. So I did. The roads thinned as we climbed. The buildings grew shorter and farther apart. The sky opened a little more. The wet pavement dried into dull gray. Elena sat with her hands relaxed in her lap now. Every few minutes I saw her check the side mirror, not with panic, but with trained caution. I understood. It takes time to teach your body that it is not being hunted anymore. We reached the overlook and pulled into the small gravel area. No other cars. Just a low rail, a drop, and the spread of the city below us. I shut off the engine. Silence rolled in, broken only by a light wind and the faint sound of traffic far away. For a long moment we did not move. Then Elena unbuckled her belt and turned in her seat to face me fully. The morning light came in through the windshield and framed her features in a softer way than the gallery lights had. This is strange, she said. What is? I asked. Breathing and not waiting for the next awful thing, she said. It will feel strange for a while, I said. Your body learned to live in alarm. It needs time to learn something else. And what is the something else? She asked. Living because you want to, I said. Not just because you are too stubborn to stop. She let out a breath that sounded almost like a laugh and almost like a sigh. Stubborn, she repeated. He always called me that like it was an insult. He was afraid of it, I said. Men like him do not like when someone they think they own has their own spine. Do you? She asked. Do I what? Like that I am stubborn, she said. I looked at her, really looked. At the way she had not broken even when she could have. At the way she had chosen to walk into an office knowing he would be there, knowing she would have to speak. Yes, I said simply. She held my gaze. Good, she whispered. There was no rush now. No sirens. No drone buzz. No footsteps in the hall. Just the steady beat of a heart in my chest and in hers. I reached over the console, slow and open. She met me halfway. Our hands linked, fingers fitting together like they had done this for years instead of hours. This does not fix everything, I said. The court, the calls, the way your mind will play tricks on you when you hear a knock on the door. I cannot promise it will be easy. I know, she said. I do not need easy. What do you need? I asked. Her thumb brushed over my knuckles. Someone who does not confuse love with control, she said. Someone who says the hard things out loud. Someone who opens doors instead of closing them. I squeezed her hand. I can try that, I said. She smiled, real and full this time. Good, she said. Because I am not getting back in that car if you go back to pretending you are just a driver. You are bossy, I said. I am free, she answered. The city stretched out below us. The sky was still gray, but there was a thin line of light trying to break through on the horizon. I lifted our joined hands and kissed the back of hers. Her fingers tightened around mine. We sat there like that for a while, in a fast car that was not running, in a city that did not know anything had changed, breathing in a silence we had both earned. The car was big enough for two. And for the first time, it felt like there might be a future big enough for us two.
If you felt good in this story, like, subscribe, and join me in the next one. Thank you.